first of all, I'm a basketball junkie. I don't play anymore because my legs are too beat up. But I played full court basketball up till I was about 53, 54, and I was a pretty good player. So one of my heroes of all time, maybe the hero of all time, up there with Magic and Larry Bird, was Pistol Pete Maravich, because he was the greatest ball handler of all time. Even Magic says that. And Sport Magazine sent me down to hang out with him in New Orleans when he was on the New Orleans Jazz, which is the only way the word jazz makes any sense. The idea of the Utah Jazz is the funniest thing I ever heard, you know. Yeah, that's a jazzy place. Those Mormons can really play, babe, you know. You know, the Mormons invented jazz. You didn't know that, probably. A lot of people think Louis Armstrong, but no, actually it was Mormons. It was a wild group of guys with Mormon hats. They were very cool. But anyway, they sent me down there, and I went out to Tulane University where he was practicing. And no, actually I met him at where did I meet him? I met him at Tulane, that's right. And so he started doing his ball tricks for me. And the things he couldn't do with the ball weren't worth doing. It was the most amazing thing I ever saw. And then they had practice, and he would aim the ball here, right this way, and the ball would shoot to the right. I still don't know how you do it. I mean, yeah, anybody can go like that, but it didn't look like that. It looked like the whole body was here, ball went there. It didn't look like anything happened differently. It just went oddly to the right or to the left when he did it this way. He could also take a running, as he was dribbling, bounce the ball off his instep and make it go to a guy under the basket. He could roll a ball all the way down the court and hit a guy in full stride for a layup. And he could drop the ball behind his back, clap 3 times, and catch it over and over again. These were all drills he did. As a kid, he even rode around his car. His father rode around the car with him in the back seat. And Pete would dribble the ball with one hand out the back window, the right window. On the way home, he would dribble the ball out on the left window. On the street as the car was rolling along, and never lost the ball. I mean, it was ridiculous what he could do. He and I were standing around, and I said, well, I know you're a great behind-the-back passer, but how far can you actually throw behind the back pass? He said, the whole distance of the court. I said, come on, accurately? He said, yeah, well, you go down the other end. So I went down the other end at Tulane University, and I ran in from the sideline to the basket, and he threw me a behind-the-back pass from the baseline, the other baseline, and hit me right in the hands as I went in. And the ball was like a rocket. It wasn't like a loopy pass. It was like a bullet right in my hands. And I just stood there like, holy God. And he was the most remarkable guy. He also was a little crazy. He told me he might not be around for the season. And I thought, what do you mean? And he said, well, you know, he'd been in touch with some people from another planet who lived. He had all this radio equipment on the top of his house. And that he'd been in touch with other people from another planet, and that they had told him they might come down and take him away. And I said, come on, man, you're putting me on, right? And he said, no, I really am, you know. And he had some very strange ideas about it, you know, extraterrestrial life and there. But on the other hand, the guy was so amazingly super talented that whatever frequency he was on was way beyond anything anybody else I'd ever known in sports was. When he was playing with the team and they were scrimmaging, he would basically hit guys in the face all the time with passes because they couldn't believe the ball was going to get through to them. They'd be like, he'd be out here on point guard, there'd be 3 or 4 guys in between him and the guy he wanted to pass to, and he would just guide the ball through the 3 guys and hit the guy, and the guy was unprepared for it, so he'd get hit in the face. And Elgin Baylor was the coach, and he would yell, why didn't you catch the motherfucking ball? And he said, well, I didn't think Pete could throw it to me, man. He said, he didn't look at me. And Baylor said, he ain't going to look at you. That's the whole point. He's going to look somewhere else, and the ball's going to come. You got to be ready for it. And Baylor looked at me and said, these guys shouldn't even be on the same court with him. Because the team was pretty bad in those days. And that was one of the sad things about his life, because he never got to play with guys that were up to his standards until late in life when his knees were shot and he was playing on the Celtics with Bird. and he couldn't be the guy that he used to be by that point. Even in college, he never played on a winning team. He showed me all his old college tapes and all, and there are endless shots of him making half-court shots to win games. I mean, ridiculous jump shots from half court, and they were again line drives. The guy was. I saw him score 68 points one night against the Knicks, and most of them were on. This is when he was a little older and didn't do so much driving. Most of it was on jumpers, you know. And these guys had 2-3 guys on them. Had absolutely no impact on him at all. You really couldn't defend him. Nobody could defend him. And he was a wonderful, wonderful guy. And then of course we found out later in life he missed a whole artery to his heart. He had one less artery than any normal person, and I forget the name of that condition, but most people who get that condition die by the time they're 8 years old. So the fact that he had that condition and became one of the world's greatest athletes, in spite of it, is even more beyond belief. And he died I think he was only 46, but he got to be one of the greatest players ever.